It all began on a night when the cameras were rolling, the audience was locked in, and the energy in the studio was electric. Jasmine Crockett, known for her fearless and sharp approach, took center stage. Her voice was steady, her gaze unflinching. As she began unraveling a web of secrets she claimed had been hidden for years. Each word felt like a dagger, exposing layers of controversy surrounding Trump that no one expected to hear live on air. The room grew tense as her revelations cut through the noise, forcing even her harshest critics to sit in stunned silence. Karoline Leavitt, who had walked into the studio confident and ready to defend Trump at all costs, suddenly found herself cornered. Her composure cracked. What started as a confident smirk turned into nervous glances and whispered exchanges with her aides off stage. Jasmine's words were relentless, piercing through every attempt Karoline made to deflect or interrupt. The audience, sensing the magnitude of what was unfolding, gasped collectively as the tension escalated. What truly shocked viewers was not just the information Jasmine revealed, but the raw courage she displayed in saying it all without hesitation. She spoke of hidden deals, questionable relationships, and behind-the-scenes manipulations that painted a darker picture of Trump's world. It was as if the curtain had finally been pulled back, and nothing could be hidden anymore. Karoline, overwhelmed and visibly shaken, did something no one expected. Reports claim she frantically reached out for help, even calling the police once the cameras stopped rolling. Witnesses described her as furious, pacing, and demanding action as if law enforcement could undo what had just been broadcast to millions. To many, it was the ultimate sign of desperation, the moment a political figure cracked under the weight of unfiltered truth. Meanwhile, Jasmine Crockett remained calm, standing tall in the aftermath of her explosive revelations. Supporters praised her for her bravery, hailing her as the voice unafraid to confront power head-on. The fallout was immediate. Social media exploded, hashtags trended worldwide, and debates raged in every corner of the internet. Some called Jasmine reckless, while others called her a hero. Karoline's decision to involve the police only amplified the story. Questions swirled. Was she trying to silence Jasmine, intimidate her, or simply regain control of a narrative that had spiraled out of her hands? Whatever her intention, the optics were damning. Instead of looking strong, she appeared rattled, desperate, and unprepared for the storm she faced. As the dust settled, one thing became clear. The clash between Karoline Leavitt and Jasmine Crockett would not be forgotten. It marked a defining moment where truth collided with power, leaving the world to question who would come out on top. Jasmine's boldness etched her name into the political spotlight, while Karoline's reaction became a cautionary tale of what happens when the truth can no longer be contained. This wasn't just another heated exchange on live television. It was a moment that shifted the conversation, exposed vulnerabilities, and reminded everyone watching that when secrets are revealed, the fallout is unstoppable. Would you like me to make this script longer and more dramatic, like a 20-minute YouTube video narration, or keep it shorter, like a 5-minute detailed breakdown? As the hours passed after the explosive broadcast, the story only grew bigger. News outlets across the country replayed the moment Jasmine Crockett's revelations shook the studio. Clips went viral, edited, and reposted thousands of times, showing Karoline Leavitt's panicked expression as she struggled to regain control. For millions watching, it was the kind of unscripted political drama they had never seen before. Behind the scenes, Karoline's team scrambled. Phone calls flew back and forth, statements were drafted, and advisors tried to spin the narrative in her favor. But every attempt to discredit Jasmine only seemed to backfire. Supporters of Crockett quickly rallied, amplifying her words on social media, making sure the message spread even further. The harder Karoline pushed back, the louder Jasmine's voice seemed to echo. and then came the police reports. Witnesses confirmed Karoline had, in fact, called law enforcement after leaving the stage, insisting that Jasmine's words were dangerous and crossed the line. That move sent shockwaves. Critics blasted Karoline for abusing power, claiming she was trying to use intimidation tactics instead of addressing the allegations. To them, it wasn't just a political misstep, it was proof of weakness. Jasmine, on the other hand, remained composed. She released a short but powerful statement the next day, saying she would not be silenced, that truth-telling was not a crime, and that the people deserved transparency. Her words struck a chord with those already skeptical of Trump's inner circle. Overnight, she transformed from a rising figure into a household name. The divide grew sharper. On one side, Karoline's allies doubled down, attacking Jasmine with every insult they could muster. On the other, supporters celebrated Jasmine as fearless, someone finally brave enough to say what many had been whispering about for years. The clash became more than just a TV segment. It became a symbol of the larger struggle between power and accountability. Karoline's call to the police became the focal point of late-night comedy shows, political talk panels, and online memes. The more it was mocked, the more it damaged her credibility. Instead of appearing strong, she looked fragile, as though one woman's voice had been enough to shake her to the core. Meanwhile, Jasmine's influence only grew. Invitations poured in from talk shows, interviews, and rallies. She became the face of defiance against those who tried to hide behind money and power. And for Trump himself, the fallout was undeniable. Every new headline dragged his name back, into the center of controversy, forcing his team into constant damage control. What had started as a tense exchange on live TV had now spiraled into a national scandal. The story had legs, and it wasn't slowing down. And at the heart of it all were two women, one who tried to suppress the truth, and another who refused to back down no matter the cost. Would you like me to continue expanding this as a long, dramatic arc, almost like a serialized story for multiple YouTube videos, or keep building one full-length single script that escalates to a big ending? The days following the broadcast felt like a whirlwind. Everywhere you turned, from major news outlets to coffee shop conversations, people were still talking about what had gone down between Karoline Leavitt and Jasmine Crockett. What had seemed like just another heated debate on live TV had exploded into a cultural firestorm, with ripple effects that no one could have predicted. Karoline tried to put on a brave face. She scheduled interviews, rehearsed her talking points, and insisted she had only called the police out of concern for her safety. But the more she tried to explain, the less convincing she sounded. Audiences replayed her excuses side by side with Jasmine's composed, steady delivery from that night. The contrast couldn't have been more stark. Karoline looked panicked and defensive, while Jasmine appeared confident and unshaken. Behind closed doors, Karoline's frustration boiled over. Reports leaked from insiders who claimed she lashed out at her own staff, blaming them for not anticipating Jasmine's attack. Some aides even quietly distanced themselves, worried the scandal might tarnish their own reputations. It became clear that Karoline wasn't just fighting Jasmine anymore. She was fighting to save her own political career. Jasmine, meanwhile, leaned into the momentum. She wasn't gloating, but she wasn't hiding either. She stood firmly by her words, attending public events and interviews where she doubled down on the secrets she exposed. Her calm persistence made her message even stronger, and the public took notice. Everywhere she went, crowds gathered, people cheered, and her social media presence skyrocketed. She had tapped into a wave of energy that Karoline couldn't contain. The police involvement backfired spectacularly. Activists and commentators questioned why law enforcement had been dragged into a political spat. Was it an intimidation tactic, a way to silence a voice of truth, or simply a sign that Karoline had cracked under the pressure? No matter the explanation, the optics were brutal. And then the whispers began. If Jasmine knew this much, what else was she holding back? Had she only revealed the tip of the iceberg that night? The speculation fueled even more curiosity, keeping the story alive in headlines long after most political scandals would have faded. Karoline found herself increasingly isolated. Former allies grew distant, hesitant to be associated with her growing reputation as someone who couldn't handle pressure. Even Trump's camp, usually quick to defend, offered only lukewarm support. To them, Karoline's meltdown was a distraction they didn't need. For Jasmine, it was the opposite. Her influence expanded, and people began seeing her as not just a politician, but a fighter for truth. She became a symbol, someone who proved that even against powerful opponents, the truth could still cut through.